Hi everybody, welcome back to MyFIntelligence. Today we're doing another episode of Day in the Life. I'm Sam and my partner Kat.
Hello everyone.
Awesome. And today we have a very special guest, Justin. Justin, if you mind, please introduce yourself and tell us what you did over the summer.
Hi, I'm Justin. I'm currently a third year at Rotman at U of T. And over the summer, I had the opportunity to work as sort of a cryptocurrency summer analyst at a Toronto-based blockchain brokerage firm.
Awesome. So first off, that sounds really cool, especially for us finance folk who don't usually get really involved with cryptocurrency. So can you tell us a little bit about maybe actually first what cryptocurrency is and what blockchain is in your simplest terms?
Yeah, absolutely. So blockchain in general is like a technology, right? It's a distributed ledger system, which basically means that transactions are all stored on a ledger, so they can all be traced, and it gives you the benefit of being anonymous. Cryptocurrency is basically using that technology and saying, oh, okay, well, we can use this technology to store value, and that's a way in which we can sort of record financial transactions and store that as sort of a substitute for like money per se. A lot of people have heard of Bitcoin. That was sort of the first crack at it, and since then you've really seen this evolution into a lot of different ways we can apply cryptocurrency and blockchain technology.
Awesome. And could you tell us a bit more about what you did at the company as an intern?
My company had quite a few different facets that I got to be a part of. So I'd say like the main one would be our OTC trade desk. And I think that is pretty comparable to other OTC desks in which we match buyers to sellers of different sort of cryptocurrencies and like Bitcoin and stable coins and altcoins of the sort. So I was on there. I sort of helped to facilitate some of the trades. I also got to work on the research side. So another aspect of the company was that sort of almost investment banker-esque is how they like to view themselves. But yeah, we helped with sort of ICOs, new projects. If there were acquisitions, unfortunately, there were none like while I was there, but they sort of helped to do that. So I did a lot of research projects on researching new sort of areas within the crypto space, seeing what was viable.
Really cool. Can you tell us a bit about some of these analytical things that you did and a bit about which programs you used to do this analysis? Was it mainly Excel, or did you also have some coding knowledge?
Yeah, for sure. So I would say the type of analysis I did was really interesting because it was really broad. When I first got into like sort of the area, I really saw crypto as just this niche capital market space where people just sort of bought and sold Bitcoin to try to make money. And when I got in, like you find that there's a lot of different ways people can make money or people can start a business within the space. So, just things like Bitcoin mining, for example, like that back end. I did a project on that, and like arbitraging electricity, for example, is something that's really like commonplace. And then there's like obviously just things like, oh, like we want to use this blockchain technology to, help people with payments, help people with operations, help like large businesses with different parts of their sort of supply chain. So I'd say a lot of the analytical work I did one that was really interesting that was on like ICOs. So I was able to bring in a little bit of capital market experience and like build out like comparative analyses. So that was really interesting. Yeah, like you said, a lot of it was a lot of the numerical stuff was on Excel. A lot of like the qualitative stuff is a lot more almost like proprietary in a sense where you don't really have established guidelines of how to do them. So it was a lot of like sort of getting primary data from like interviews and that kind of stuff and sort of frameworking that and using that to sort of streamline my own personal work. But yeah, I'd say I also was able to bring in some VBA experience, which really helped in building out like some trading models that I got to do like on the side for some people, but also in helping to streamline just like the booking process and that kind of stuff as well.
So something that kind of caught my attention is you said arbitraging electricity. Can you tell us what
Yeah.
it actually is? I've never heard about that. Sounds really cool.
Well, yeah. So, I mean, in essence, it's just because like Bitcoin mining facilities, they use like a lot of energy. And so a lot of the times they'll have like pre-agreed energy contracts, which I suppose you can think of it like energy futures, right? So that in conjunction with the fact that energy markets are really, really volatile. So like almost depending on like what hour of the day you're trying to like access this electricity, the prices can fluctuate by quite a substantial margin. So these companies, if they're not using the electricity and electricity markets are very high, they can then use that pre-agreed like agreement to therefore sell back their electricity into the market. So like a lot of companies don't do that, but then we worked with a firm that did, and that was really yeah, that was really insightful. That was really interesting.
That's so cool. We've never had anything like this before. Awesome. And could you now tell us a little bit more about your daily tasks and routines? Like when did you start? How did your day usually move along, and when did you end?
There was definitely like no strict timetable. Which is great. You know, I got to wake up at like like 10:30 in the morning. Like it was lovely. It was fantastic. Um, but I would say my main day-to-day task is just because I think they wanted like the internship to be a very much a learning experience, is they got us to sort of scavenge the news every day like you might do if you're like an investment banker, how you'd sort of wake up, check like Wall Street Journal or Bloomberg or whatever. But they sort of got us to do that in the crypto space, write just a couple of summaries of the main headlines and just sort of send that out as like to the people within the company to help them start the day, just because news isn't as readily available. So I do that every morning to sort of summarize the night before. And then it would just mainly be working on whatever project that I've been assigned. And just like I said, there's no really strict timetable. You sort of just work until you're done, and they set a deadline and you just have to meet the deadline. I would write my article. I would take like 12 p.m. to like 2 p.m. off, or 12 p.m. to 3 p.m. off, and then I'd work from like 4 to maybe 11 or 12. That's just something that sort of suited my schedule a bit better. But like I said, it was completely flexible. So I know someone who worked almost like an opposite schedule, where they like to wake up earlier and start working from there. So yeah.
It's really great. The flexibility is amazing. So I guess our last question for you would be, what piece of advice do you have for students, maybe students who are particularly in the finance or business world, who are interested in getting more into the crypto world?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I'd say it's a great thing to look into. I think when I first sort of got into it, roughly like and I'd say like maybe February, so not too long ago either. It's really interesting to see how, or at least for me, like a great perspective is to see how the traditional finance space can translate over into the crypto space, and you'll see a lot of overlap and a lot of differences. Especially like when like let's say you're into like finance, let's say you're into like capital markets, maybe you'll look into like the crypto trading side first, and then you'll see that like a lot of trading models are pretty similar, right? Like a lot of things that you look at, and then that'll maybe like spur your interest into looking into like to see, oh, how's crypto valued, which is then where you start to see a lot of like differences, but a lot of similarities into like, oh, like is Bitcoin, like should I treat Bitcoin as like gold and trade it like a commodity? Should I like treat it like a currency and apply like FX models to it? So it's great because there's a lot of different synergies with a lot of different financial interests. So you can really sort of pick and choose like the spaces that you want to go into. All I'd say is that like it's still pretty new. It's only 10 years old, and it's really sprung into the forefront within the last 2 years or so. So if you think that there's a way that you can add value, there probably will be.
Well, it definitely sounds like a field with a lot of opportunities, and it was really cool listening to you talk about it. From both Sam and I, we would just like to thank you once more for doing this video with us. We learned a lot, and I'm sure anyone else watching did as well. For those of you watching, if you'd like to learn more about how Justin came across this job and how he recruited for it, make sure to check out his land the job video as well. Thanks again, Justin.
Absolutely. Thank you.